Good afternoon, everybody. It's Mike with smartoptiontrading.com. It is Friday. It is March 27th. This is my weekly recap video. I hope, first of all, you guys are all doing well. You're staying safe here with this market. It's been a very, very tough couple of weeks, and this week has been pretty brutal. If you want to join me, come over to smartoptiontrading.com, click on live trading alerts, and you can join us in our live trading room. We'd love to have you. Let's talk about what's going on here. We'll start off since the VIX is up. We'll start there. And the VIX here is now pushing up. Hasn't taken out the highs yet, but you can see it pushing up. It's above 31 now. And, the VIX has been elevated for a while, but now we're 4 weeks old. And what's really going on here is the market has said, I've had enough. If you look at the ES, we took out last week's low. We've rolled over here. And, despite the president and many of the cabinet members trying to pump the market up, they continue to give conflicting messages or different messages. And the market has finally said, we don't believe any of you anymore. We just don't. We don't believe anything. We want this war over. We want the straits opened. And that's why you're seeing that even when you get a piece of good news, you get a very brief pop like last night. Trump extended the ultimatum to Iran by 10 more days, but the market popped and briefly and then gave it up very quickly as well. And we're just not seeing anything hold here. The market doesn't believe anything. It wants this over. All right, so that brings us to here in the ES. You got a big down move here. At the same time, we're seeing bonds selling off, right? Gold up today. This is different. Same thing with silver. Usually they were selling with the markets. Crude is approaching $100 again. And we talked about when this war started that we had 4 weeks to get the straits open. We're at 4 weeks here, and that hasn't happened. If this continues to go on, you have a bunch of container ships that are trapped there on everybody on both sides, and if this doesn't get open soon, we're going to have problems. There's other problems with crude that is not just related to what's going on in the Gulf. Now, we did have another tanker destroyed by Iran today, but Ukraine managed to take out some of the North Sea terminals of Russia's exports and refineries, and they took him out. If you just go search the videos in a spectacular fashion, they hit him with drones, and they hit him again yesterday. And that's roughly 40% of as Russia's export capacity has been brought offline. So you have a lot of things going on right now that are just not very good for crude. Right. All right. So let's go to the SPY here. You can see here we have three big down days in a row now. Couldn't break above the 200-day and sold off on Wednesday, back on gap down on Thursday, and here we got continuation today. Your 10% corrective territory is 628.05. We're coming close there on the SPY, and that's our next area to watch down here. We've come through a lot of levels, 635, so you can watch maybe here 632 area comes into play, but we're starting to look for that 10% correction. The coups already were there. They got there yesterday and they've extended below it here. Now you're starting to look towards this 560 level, and then we start watching down here towards the 551 level on the NASDAQ, right? So we'll see where they go. We've already gone into correction there. What is strong is energy. Energy's been on a rampage. Look at this move, new all-time highs today. ExxonMobil, new all-time highs. Chevron, new all-time highs. Oxy's at many-year highs here and another nice move there. You can see these continue to push up. LNG just at the all-time high put in last week. You got a lot of names waking up in this space, including Schlumberger, right? Nice big move there. When you look else going around, the IWM has been sold off, but holding the 200-day, showing more strength in the markets. The Dow has finally capitulated as well. Very concerning here is the banks are capitulating. You have a all-out now sell-off on the XLF here as we're dropping back down here and coming in. This is not exactly what we want to see, right? The banks were leaders, right? They're coming in. JP Morgan has sold off. Watch that 280 level. Citigroup, which had been stronger, is still stronger above the 200-day. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Goldman, right? All looking weak. Goldman also a little stronger on the 200-day. Morgan Stanley. Everybody keeps asking me SoFi, SoFi, SoFi. They're selling SoFi off. SoFi, they want nothing to do with it right now, all the way back to 50. And at some point, maybe down here, it starts becoming a screaming buy. But you have a 50% haircut in 5 months, 6 months on this thing. So pretty big move there. Software, we were talking about not buying software. I told you that my plan was to look for a higher low to buy it. Well, it might go a double low here or even lower. The reason I didn't want to buy it in this move, I didn't feel the bottom was in. Here's the move down. Software is getting hammered now. Palantir coming back in. That was one of the stronger names. You got that gap area at 140. You might want to get actually filled it, but might want to come back down under that. Oracle continues to get mangled. Adobe, right? None of these names. Snow. They don't want them. Sales, it's 52-week low. Salesforce is coming back to the lows. They just don't want them. Crypto has been weak. If you like Bitcoin, it's been selling back off here, back almost down to 65. Hood, despite a $1.5 billion buyback this week, lost this level. Bear flag broke down. It's at a 50, not quite a 52-week low, but it's heading there. It's into some area of support. We'll watch that area down through the 60 level. Coin, which had been so strong, completely capitulated here, but still above the recent lows of 139. That's an interesting area to watch down there as we watch what's going on. Uh, what else, Mike, should I be talking about? Let's talk about the SMHs here since we have a couple minutes. The SMHs are still holding in better than the markets overall, and that's because of strength in names like Micron. While Micron has sold off this week, it is still holding fairly well. SNDK is holding in decently, Western Digital as well. ARM had a nice big move this week off of guidance, but gave it almost all back. And then there's names like AMD, which looked so good earlier this week and just completely capitulated. And what happened with AMD is he had the beautiful move, and yesterday gave it all back, and still holding the 200 days. So there's some strength there. That said, Nvidia now is raising a whole bunch of red flags here, and it's screaming a lot of problems here. And if we lose Nvidia, we could have bigger problems. Nvidia here, it's had this sideways channel, and we're really trying to break below it. We broke this uptrend. I've had this uptrend drawing for a long time. We sliced through it. If we cannot find some support right around where we are, and certainly no lower than here, 163, it opens the door for a move all the way back to 146, which would be very tough on the markets. So we really could use this bounce. Part of what might be being affecting NVIDIA is SMCI. SMCI, the co-founder and I think just COO, the wife of the owner, right? They're both husband and wife team, indicted for basically knowingly selling and smuggling NVIDIA chips into China. Other people in the company indicted as well. This has been unsealed. We know this to be true, and there's talk that NVIDIA was a knowing member of this. I hope that's not the case. SMCI beaten up, but however, Dell, bad news for them, hit an all-time high this week. So not everything here is the same. When we look at big cap tech, Microsoft has been just mangled. That H-cell pattern we talked about earlier this week triggered. It's not far now from the 52-week low at 344.79. Amazon showing some relative strength, beaten up today, still trying to hold this 200 area and the recent lows. Tesla, which had been strong, rejected again at the 200-day, broke down here. You're going to start watching now into this 358 level, and then see if we go lower. We're expecting to hear any day now the announcement of the SpaceX/XAI IPO on that one. Meta destroyed. This whole concern with AI is getting blown out of proportions, I think, but that is what it is. Companies now concerned that none of these companies, people now, investors concerned these companies will not be able to make back the money they're spending on AI on this CapEx. And then they lost a lawsuit where Meta, Google was thrown into there, found to be purposely that their social media is addictive and that they're a problem. And everybody now, this is going to open up the floodgates, and Meta's and Google, and they're all going to go out of business. Take a deep breath. This is not likely the case. This thing is a cash machine, and that probably will find its footing. That said, I am a holder. I hold it up much higher, somewhere in the 600 area, so some 700 area. So I'm not a happy camper right now with what I have there. Start watching this little gap to fill down here. You have another gap down here that needs to fill down at the 517. We'll keep an eye on that. Google also, the head and shoulders pattern triggered. It's coming down. The 200 days seems like it's calling down there. And if not, then we'll start watching a little lower at the 257. These are all probably buying opportunities. Let's talk Apple real quick as well. Apple held in oil. It was trying to push this today. It was stronger. Then it rolled over all of a sudden. 200-day calling there. That's a big spot to watch. And need to talk Netflix. That was my one trade today. I traded Netflix today. Had a beautiful trade with stock and options right out of the gate, something I don't normally do. This is holding in better. Netflix yesterday announced the second price hike in less than a year, kind of an FU to all subscribers, because they just got a $1.7 billion windfall from the breakup of not doing the Warner Brothers deal that came to them from Warner Brothers, already been paid to them. It's kind of an FU raising prices on everybody. We'll see how people react to that overall, how their subscriber base does. But, they're starting to get very pricey compared to everybody else. Outside of that, guys, it's a time to wait and be careful for the market to show its hand. Purposely, after three big down days in a row, we'll see how we close here today. Get them off screens a little bit early. Duke needs to go to the vet. But, I wouldn't be chasing shorts into this mess. We'll look for some type of reversal, maybe a dead cat bounce or something, bring us back up. We're extended out of the Bollinger Bands and off the 8-day, and then we'll see what we'll go from there. I'm going to do a couple of charts tomorrow. A lot of us I probably talked about today, but we're looking for some buying ideas. And I hope you're all doing well and catch you guys live in the room Monday morning. 4-day week next week. Markets are closed on Friday for Good Friday.